Hey, what's up? It's Sarah here. So let's talk a little bit about triangle, um, trig and triangle ratio. So we're going to cover SOHCAHTOA, uh, there we go. And we are going to talk about right triangles. So there's a couple of things that we want to address when it comes to this. The number one thing that we want to address when it comes to this, let's do this in bright green so that you remember, is in order to use the sine, cosine, tangent to find either the length of a side or to find the degree of an angle inside of a triangle, it has to be a right triangle. Okay? Has to be a right triangle. And what is a right triangle? What is a right triangle? Oh, we don't need a question mark there. A right triangle is a triangle that has a 90-degree angle, right? That is how we know that it is a right triangle. Okay, we're going to move that back down a little bit there. All right, so we have our right triangle, SOHCAHTOA. So let's see. Let's go ahead and label our, we're going to go ahead and label our, I'm going to move that down just a little bit. Or label our triangle. So this side is our hypotenuse, and the hypotenuse, very important thing about the hypotenuse is the longest leg. Actually, I take that back. It's not actually a leg, but it's the longest side. So if your hypotenuse doesn't have the greatest length when you're doing everything, then something happened. All right, so that is a very important piece of information. The other thing that we're going to do, let's do this in pink, is we're going to move that there. We're going to do this angle. So this angle is the angle that we're going to call theta. So that's your angle of reference, right? If we were using sine and cosine to do this, that would be the angle that you were looking at. So this is a really important piece of the SOHCAHTOA in that the opposite, what we're going to call, oh, we're going to leave that in pink actually. The opposite, opposite side, right, is always the side opposite the angle that you're looking for. So if I were using the other angle to find, or if I were trying to find the measure of the other angle, then the side opposite it would be considered the opposite when I was doing my ratio. So always opposite the reference angle. We're going to call that the reference angle. Reference angle. Okay, so that's one. And then your other side, which let's go ahead and put that in dark green, is going to be your adjacent. And that's just the leg that's not the opposite. The leg not the opposite. Opposite. Okay, so let's go ahead and make this a little bit smaller so you can see everything all together. So there's that. I'm going to go ahead and write down now. We're going to go through your trig ratios real fast, and then I'm going to do some examples in the next video. So we're going to write it in black. So when you have sine, you would use sine of theta, want to remember to put the theta in. You would use the measure of the opposite over the hypotenuse. Okay? When you have cosine, or when you're using, when you have, okay, I say when you have. So depending on the pieces of information you're giving in your example problems, that is going to determine whether you use sine, cosine, or tangent. And like I said, I'll do some example problems in the next one. So when you have cosine, you're going to use the measure of the adjacent over the measure of the hypotenuse. And then last but not least, when you are using tangent, you are going to use the opposite over the adjacent. So if you had the length of the two legs and you were looking for the measure of the ankle, then you would use the opposite over the adjacent. And that's how you determine which side is which, and therefore which measure you use in order to find the degree of the angle. So, all right, we are done with that. I'm going to make the next video will have some examples of how to do all of those things. Remember, let me know if you have any questions.